Hello and welcome to this week's episodes of The Calling. Follow your spirit all the way in. I'm your host, Homaya. Join me in this journey of self-awareness, soul frequencies, and spiritual revelations. Let's fly. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome. Today you have an opportunity to be part of a conversation, or maybe we can say to witness a conversation with my beloved dear friend and companion to this walk of life. And I have a full body shiver as I am just naming it. Sofia Sundari, welcome to this space. Welcome to the conversation. How are you?
Thank you, my love. It's such a pleasure to talk with you. Once our teams were coming up with the time to meet, I was like, I don't want to wait. Let's just hop on the first train possible. And it's always such a pleasure to talk to you. We always come up with some new insights, new visions, new aha moments. So I'm really excited for us to have this conversation and catch up, and for everyone else
to listen, to witness, to find their spot in this journey. Yeah, so we are walking together for quite a long time, and it is always such a nourishing experience to know that there is a rapport with someone who's walking that path of leadership of light and the path of doing what it takes to really lead and to live in strong connection to what we know deeply inside as an utopic state, as an enlightened state, as an what I name a paradise consciousness. And I feel that as we're heading towards Golden, that will be on the portal day, the Lion's Gate, and you're going to be there with all of your glory and your wisdom and your magic. I want people to tune with you. I want people to sense also through this conversation, through us, what it means to be living when you really position the truth as a pillar, as your north light. And it's a journey.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a beautiful word that you use, the utopia. I call it the new world. I feel like it's inevitable. I feel like it's just a part of the evolution of humanity that we're going to come there. And it's definitely not the first time, and it's not the last time in this infinite universe that we are going to come to this place of full potential, full expression of what our soul is actually made of. Just the only variant is time. Yeah. So the time, it might take a few lifetimes, or it might take pretty fast if we dare, if we dare to actually act on those things that we all know in our hearts.
Yeah. I know for me it's a dance. It's a dance of how much I allow myself, I would even say, to really live it, really experience it, really allow myself to. The word that comes is hold it, but you don't hold it. It holds you, honestly, right? So there was different moments in my life where, of course, the first one, which is the most remarkable one, was my state of awakening. But there were so many moments in my life where my heart was so bigger than my life, that my soul was so dominant, that the truth was vivid. And then I can say calibrated to that state and learned. Oh, even the word learned is not really correct, but allowed myself to feel at ease in it, to be in it, to make love with it. And in an internal journey, it might feel like on and off. Some people might ask sometimes, how would I come back to it? Or why is it disappearing? Or how come you're not holding it now?
Yeah. Shall we define it?
I don't know if that it can be defined. It is the it with uncountable names and uncountable definitions, right?
We can position it as a state of consciousness, state of perfection, we can say. And the perfection, not that type of perfection that we are trying to like work perfectly, be a perfect mother, have a perfect house, have a perfect appearance. Not that type of perfection, but the actual perfection. Like the perfection where you simply dwell in that state that everything is done and that you literally have nowhere to go, nothing to reach, nothing to achieve, and simply this one moment contains the entire mystery of the whole creation. And we live in the recognition of that. That's probably how we can give it
I
some
love,
flavor.
yeah, I love it. I love, because as you're speaking about it, for me, in my inner experience, is when you're saying it is all done, it's also in the sense of you're able to really feel, I am able to really feel the accuracy, the immaculate divine plan from the inside. It's not something that I'm looking at. It's like the entire geometry, the entire composition of everything that is in experience inside and out is, again, the word here comes again, the perfection is perfect. There are no faults. And light is not competing with shadow, and shadow is not competing in light. There's actually no possibility for anything to eclipse anything.
Yes. Yeah.
And then our presence inside of it, is this presence of whole. I'm one with it. As I am, I'm completely one with it.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing is that we cannot really rush that because it really, it's quite mysterious what prepares a person for that. Because yes, there is spiritual practice. Yes, there is will. I talk a lot about will in my work lately. It's just, this like some things, they are so heavy, like our ancestral karma and stuff in our DNA, that you just have to grab yourself with that will and attune yourself to the path of your supreme destiny, which is the paradise. But at the same time, it's still quite mysterious because you may be going with full will, and at the same time you have to surrender so much, because if you put too much will, that's also counterproductive, because then you start to hold on to your own idea of how the path should be. But in fact, there is a massive role is the surrender. And then simply the state of consciousness simply starts to change. There simply starts to come those moments when you literally understand, for example, something that is quite, let's say, more or less recent in my life, like the last couple of years, that's something that I'm experiencing, is that there literally no one outside of me. If there is any kind of opinion, any kind of behavior that seems to be in dissonance with my belief system, I understand that it's just an illusion. Because it's a part of me. It's just an aspect of me expressing itself. It's just an aspect of me talking to me. And it's just more convenient to see this aspect as an external person. But in fact, it's all part of one organism. And the experience of that at times has been intellectual in my life. But over these last couple of years, it's actually, there's no other. There's no sense that it's somewhere outside of me, even if it's something really like an aspect that I really don't enjoy, but still it's an aspect within me. And that has practically changed my relationship so much. So, for example, I just spent 2 weeks with my family. Like Ramdas says, if you think you're enlightened, go spend 2 weeks with your family. And I was like, by the end of the 2 weeks, I was like, I think I am accepting the enlightened status now. Because I didn't get triggered. I didn't get into any argument. Actually, everything opened like in a way that it hasn't in my whole life. And everything happened simply through that acceptance. When my brother is bringing his stuff, my father is bringing my mother. Like when they bring, I'm just like, yeah, I get it. It's like, I understand, like, it's happening inside of me. It's like, that's how we behave in this type of situations, with this type of conditioning, with this type of brainwash, with this type of orchestration of the inner geometry. That's how we behave. And then there's like, even I noticed there's a little kind of question in their eyes. Really? You're not going to be pissed with me? I was like, no, like, I get it. Hi.
Wow. It is so strong. I hear it, and I hear this quality of being one and whole. And even the illusion that sometimes we are trying to get one and be one with the whole by leaving ourselves and even betraying ourselves, and or changing who we should be, trying to please in a way, or other things that we said previous in this conversation, trying to be perfect or to hold a certain position or to build a certain identity. And then even being part of the whole is actually leaving yourself, while this state is unification. Is there's no me or you, it's the possibility to see it as all as a reflection of who I am and what I am. That I've been quite not well physically in the last 2 weeks, and I felt that was a massive confrontation to, I could see from the state that I was how much I can easily, I would say, hide my shadow in my day to day. But when you are weak and sick in a way, the shadows are present. Even the illness that puts you in a place where your mind is not so much in control, there's a possibility to see these parts, those shadows parts, because you're not controlling them anymore. You're not orchestrating what you usually orchestrate. And I could really see this discomfort that I went through now that I'm feeling that much better, gradually feeling better, as it is named as like a disease or a discomfort crisis that is in the support of the elevation. So even in the presence of challenge, or in the presence of disease, or in the presence of ending or heartbreak or the world collapsing, it's the state that you are looking at it that allows it to be by itself a topic. Although some people will hear this sentence and they just cannot even understand how we can say something like that, how I can say something like that.
It's a place from where you're looking at it, and your eyes that actually define the course of your destiny.
Yeah.
Because, of course, if you were to fall into this downward spiral and then just self-pity and shame and like all this spiral that is just so human, then it's just like harder to pull yourself out of it. But actually, at any point, we have a moment of choice. No matter how low we went, no matter what shadow shows up, no matter how difficult it is, there's always a moment to go, this is a part of the game. And that already brings acceptance. That already brings peace. And that already makes you heal.
Yeah, exactly. Is a presentation. There's something here presenting. And yeah, it's so interesting because there's a subtext in my system as we're speaking about a conversation, a silent conversation about the difference we can say between beauty and grace, and what we can even name as evil and ugly. That in a paradise consciousness, that dichotomy does not exist. But as you are heading towards paradise consciousness, that dichotomy is showing up in its like full performance, because that is a bridge that is so challenging for our mind that seek for comfort and protection to bridge. And then we prefer, in a place of seeking for protection, to define what is against us and what is bad and what is ugly and what is not supporting. And I feel that this is Someone can listen to this conversation and be already in the eyes of I see beauty and I see grace, and I am able to see everything. I'm able to be that seer. And some people can listen to this conversation, hopefully eager to be in that state where the internal heart is open, when the ears is presence, and when you're able really to see beauty without the need to name something as against, as evil, as bad. And the choice is a big thing, because definitely on your spiritual path, definitely on your own evolution, definitely on the place of creating the life that you want to withdraw from what might have interference. You want to withdraw. It's not the practice. And at the same time, knowing that exists and being at ease to face it. It's not about rejecting it. It's choosing something else and knowing that by that you are empowering more and more the state of I'm able to see the light, and I'm able to see the good, and I'm able to see the beauty, and I'm able to be part of the divine plan. And when that will arise, my seeing will transmute it.
Yeah. So, for example, if we talk about wars, yeah. So I was just in Russia, and of course, the war is very loud. And like, of course, I have my opinions about war and where the war begins. And for me, it begins within, and the wars have been on this planet non-stop ever since I was born and way before that. And of course, we can go into the emotional component, and there's so much conversation we can have around all of that. But then I am always interested to go, okay, what's the most elevated conversation that we can bring that actually can help, that actually can, if just a grain of sand, but can move in the direction of greater solution and greater peace. And for me, what I see in my own family is that there is an incredible amount of wars that are caused by the war, seemingly, yeah, or maybe they're just highlighted. And that's what I see with politics, that it's bringing more and more division, more and more separation, more and more mind. But what does it actually help when people are really spending days arguing about these things? I don't see it helps at all. But what I see help is when we look for that unification. Yeah, what unites us in this distortion, in this weird choice that humans are making at this point in our development? What can unite us there? And then that's where I look for beauty, because I find that beauty always unites us. And we always can find those seeds of beauty. It's because beauty is the true nature of God. Beauty is the true nature of this paradise. And then it's so easy to become blind to it, blinded by our pain, blinded by this distortion that we see in the world, by those wars we see in the world and within ourselves. And that's why it hurts so much, yeah, to see those wars, because they remind us of this unbearable war that we are in as a human, as the humankind. But then I focused on beauty. When I was in Russia, of course, I could focus on all these things, but I decided to focus on beauty, and I was so touched because somehow the government right now really amplifies the beauty of the city. The city I grew up in, Moscow, and it's just incredibly beautiful. I've never seen a city so beautiful. I've been in the whole world. I've never seen anything so beautiful. There are fresh flowers decorated everywhere. There's no construction at all in the whole city. Everyone is like looking like they came from magazine covers. Like so many people are so well dressed. They put so much care and attention onto all this beauty. And I was like, wow, this does something to your consciousness, to be in the state of so much beauty and so much care. You go to a restaurant, you always are provided this special chair for your purse, so you don't put your Chanel or your expensive bags on the floor or God knows where. Let's hold this beauty. Let's nurture this beauty. And that brings us a sense of relaxation and a sense of grace. That it's okay. This is a place to exhale. Yeah, we have to do what we have to do. We have our battles to fight and processes to go through. But this is a place to exhale. And yeah, to me, that's where I feel the unification that can happen. That we all agree that, okay, beauty matters. Let's relax into that.
Yeah. Some people can listen to that and be so triggered because of the protection of the victim. One of the things that we can, like, I'm hearing the stories of the people who are coming back from the war or who were kidnapped and being held hostage for months, and people who are even losing their families and so on. How many people can even find grace in it? How many people can feel God in those situations? How many people can feel connected in the situation? And sometimes it's quite shocking that those who are looking at it are more concerned and more overwhelmed than the one who are going through it. And I know that some people can look and cannot understand this conversation. But if you look at yourself, if I'm looking at my life, I didn't choose, I wasn't born to who I am now. I wasn't born to that level of wisdom. I wasn't born to that resilience. I wasn't born to that stamina. I wasn't born to that love. I wasn't born to that luxury. I wasn't born to that wealth. None of it. I was born, my story is so crazy. Like, I was born out of rape. I was born out of separation. I was born into people with mental disease around me. I was born into hatred. I was born into so many things that from the outside, everyone could at that moment be panicking about what happened there. But the fact that I was born into that doesn't mean that I was born as that. It doesn't mean that I was born as a person who's hating, as a person who's harming, as a person who's... No, there is this divine presence that, for the love of God, in some ways, even if I was not consciously aware of, I was probably in love with, into the seeking of. There's also beauty sometimes when you see people just having nothing and laughing or kissing or touching or smiling. Or I had a situation even a few days ago. I was driving, and in a red light, there was a person handicapped that was asking for coins. And I looked and I didn't have anything, and I opened the window and I told him, I'm sorry, I don't have anything. I can just give you for my love. And he smiled and he said, don't worry, it's so good. Everything is great. And you could see that in his eyes. He's speaking the truth. So I feel that this is really important for us to know, if we go back to this, choosing to see this light and choosing to echo with this light, because the scenario will be a scenario for everything, and the horror will be horror for everyone.
Yeah.
But what are you calibrating yourself with, and where are you heading? And it's not if you choose right or left, right? It's not even if you choose beauty or ugly or for or against. There's another for, there is another love, there is another beauty that combines the two. It's not either or, it's the state of being in it, and being in it. And I'm saying the it, I stopped for a moment to be in that it. It's being in that light, it's being in that beauty, it's being in that grace, and knowing that everything is part of it, and softening yourself into it.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, and focusing on that which actually amplifies instead of diminish. And that we have this asset of our attention. And that's what I call will.
Yeah, I feel again the frequency of will is so relevant now, because it could be a will that comes from survival, that comes from I'm trying to take care of myself, I'm trying to protect myself. I'm trying to create something because mentally I understand and I see other people are doing it and it feels good. And this is one will that have a lot of effort and have, I would even say, a negative toll. And there is the other will, which is I'm willing to say yes. And I'm willing to ride the energy that exists. And I'm willing to participate with the energy that exists. It's a complete different will. It's a complete different inner experience. You're not forcing reality. You are engaging with, you recognize an energetic movement and you start riding on it.
Yeah. Yeah. I differentiate it as a personal power and a supreme power. Because you can get very personally resilient, and those type of situations like what you described, what you grew up in. I also grew up in very difficult situations, especially with like mental illness around me and like literally not knowing what it is to be in a sane kind of environment. So there is this will that is forged in those fires and with all the things that we had to survive as little children, and then make those radical choices to leave, to go away, to create a separation, like all of that. It's like it all, it's a, for me, and I think for you also, it was divine intervention. That's something that kind of pulled you out and goes, okay, you have more important things to do than to just cook in this little cocoon. You have to get out and get a bigger perspective on what's going on. And yeah, and we forge will in a lot in difficulties. But then there is a supreme power that is not, it's a different type of will. It's that will into which you give yourself. And this will is harder because it involves releasing the resistance. And this is the hardest because it's like when things involve doing, at least there is a roadmap. Okay, I just need to get out. This is a toxic situation. I need to get out of here. I don't know how, I don't know where. I need to get out. And there's a certain steps that are involved in that. Yeah, and then comes the supreme will, which is really so much about releasing the resistance and not being in control, and at the same time, like giving yourself over. And really, sometimes I look at my path and I'm like, why am I so blessed? How can I feel this paradise? How can I feel this God so close to me? Why it's not a reality for everyone? Because it has to be. It's our birthright. It's normal. But the truth is that it's not. And the truth is that it creates so much panic and scarcity and frantic action in the world, and those continuous wars and this pain that people just inflict on themselves and each other all the time. Why? Just because we didn't experience God completely. I feel like that. I feel like that's the only reason. And then I ask, why? Why am I so blessed? Why am I so privileged? What did I do? And I did nothing. I don't think I did anything, but something in me learned to surrender. And then my surrender is not complete. I'm sure there's so much more that I'm still holding and resisting and so on. And but yet this like little 5% that my soul learned to do, that gives me something that I really feel like every human has to have. This sense of the supreme power that we give ourselves to, and then it guides us and it holds us, and you get to be safe in that no matter what.
There are so many layers in this conversation. I really hope that people will listen to it again and again and again, because there's so much download, there's so much essence, there's so much to take from this conversation. Because what you're saying, I want to highlight, I want to give it my words as well. Who knows how it would land? Sometimes people need to listen to it in few ways. Is that the choice that we have is not if we choose right or left. The choice that we have is would we would be willing to surrender even more. Are we willing to see? I said it to a person that I know not so long ago, that I wish that we will be willing to see how much nothing we are, so we will be able to experience how mighty we are. That is the choice. And that this is why also, by the way, the willpower and free choice are such connected to each other. This is what you choose. You don't choose beauty or hatred, grace or war. You don't choose that and that. You choose to, we can say, even to be beyond it without being detached to it. You choose to open up to the fact that they all exist. You choose to align yourself with that which has no name, cannot be grasped, cannot be pointed. You choose to follow that which cannot be followed. You choose to give your life to life itself. And I feel that this is why also this conversation gets to be a continuous conversation. I feel that this is why ministries and religious and orders and so on wanted to create a type of a repetition in prayer, repetition in practice, repetition in the teachings and so on, because it gets to be an ongoing conversation for it to fuel and remind and inject, and for you to feel comfortable and safe in relaxing into this. And yet again, if you do that, once you're doing it mechanically, you lost it. Once you're doing it mentally, you lost it. I want to come into completion of this, for me, a beautiful conversation, and put the calling and the invitation again for people to join Golden. Because that is a place where we can be that for 2 days intentionally together. We move ourselves to the place where we are in an environment from the inside that feels safe and rested to be who we are. It is the safest thing in the world. It feels logic for me to be prosperous, wealthy, healthy, loved, loving, wise. It feels sane. Everything Yuval, my husband, for those who do not know him, said this morning, something speaking about the war and peace. He said that peace state, that people are searching peace between countries, it's ridiculous. There's no peace in that. There's running and rushing and doing, and there's already war there. But people are attaching to it as a state of relaxation, as a state of what? Of being unbothered. This is of being unbothered, of being safe. You're not safe if you're not you. And you can be you everywhere. And you can be you all the time. And this is the journey. This is paradise. It's being you with the beauty, with the faults, with everything. It's being the supreme you. And not compromising around it. Not compromising, not putting the effort there. Not compromising to be in those experiences, following and experiences in whatever form they will choose to take. You need so much power for that, but the power is giving you by it's your birthright. So we're going to have a good time in Golden. We're going to have some beautiful experiences, and we're going to dwell in that state where we allow ourselves to feel the beauty and to feel the grace regardless of whatever is happening. And not necessarily choosing the contradiction in order to resist it with grace or with beauty, but rather allowing it to be the overall governing frequency.
Beautiful. Yes. Thank you so much for creating this little slice of paradise on this planet. And I think it's so important to lead in these times, and to lead from the place of truth and authenticity and ever changeability, because some things we do in life and we think that's just going to be my thing for the rest of my life, but this is also grasping and
Mm.
attachment. And so being in this ever living expression of leadership, ever living relationship with the great mystery that we have such a hard time putting into words, but at the same time the living relationship itself is a transmission. And so it's so beautiful that you are bringing so many of us together at Golden on such a such an auspicious day, an auspicious portal where so many people all over the planet are doing some form of manifestation, wealth, abundance. We actually will have an abundant, radiant experience of gold together. So I am super grateful to be a part of
Yeah.
it. Really looking forward. I think we will make something really magical there. Beautiful humans, if you feel in resonance with this very vast conversation that has no beginning and no end. It will be such a delight to see you there, to hug you there, and to see us all shining with gold.
I'm grateful for this reflection. I'm grateful for this mirror, to see through your eyes, to see this creation, to see the resonance through your eyes. My deep desire is that we're not going to do ceremony on the 8/8 on the portal. It is a ceremony. We are a ceremony. It's not a manifestation ceremony. It is a manifestation ceremony. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. Those who are not watching, you need to feel the frequency. Sofia, thank you for your love. Thank you for your presence, for the way that you are walking with so much truth. Thank you.
Thank you, my love.
Thank you for listening and being part of this great conversation. You will find all the relevant links in the show notes, as well as a link to a meditation for you to feel more connected to your spirit and aligned with your soul contract. Please, if this episode touched you, leave a review, like, and subscribe. Feel comfortable to share it with your friends, family, and colleagues, because everyone has a calling.